Closing in absolutely flat. The only thing to point out is that today we've completely ignored the global weakness, because if you take a look at the European screen, that's started off with weak dots of about 1.5% kind of cuts across the board. Having said that, it's been quite a journey today after that hit and go with the 10,800 level, got on the brink of even breaching 10,700, and since then you've seen a recovery closing in right at the midpoint at 10,750 on Nifty futures. The breadth as well has closed in pretty neck and neck. You've got the declines taking over, but just by a slim margin. From within the Nifty, I would have to say, had it not been for the private banks or financials at large, we could have had a lot worse fall. So Bajaj Finance goes home with 7.5% gains. IndusInd Bank closes in the green. Eicher Motors, ICICI Bank, Axis, Infosys, HCL Technologies, and Z is also showing some interesting moves there. On the flip side, though, it's been a bit of a tug of war between names like an Adani Ports, for instance, a BPCL, ITC, ONGC, as well as Ultratech Cement, DRL, as well as Vedanta and Hindalco, along with Bajaj Auto, after news reports from their Valoj plant, have not augured well for the market sentiment here. Within the broader markets, the losses have been restricted largely to the oil and gas names. So in MGL, Petronet LNG, IGL, these have been your top losers. On the flip side, though, double-digit gains for an Equitas, for an M&M Finance, for a Bosch, and Bandhan Bank, after those positive Q1 takeaways, was locked in upper circuit of 10% at one point in time, goes home at 392.40 on the futures. And Ujjivan as well has been a steady mover today with a solid 8% gains on the futures. Avan, what about the other newsmakers? Abha, what about the other newsmakers?
Yeah, I was wondering, Aisha, you gave me a name change today, but let's take you through some of the other movers then. By the end of the session, as you were just describing, we did start to see an inch back. So in terms of the breadth as well, closing more or less even by the end of the day. It was clearly financials for the most part that were making headway, as we've also gone through. But let's just look at it in a little bit more detail. M&M Financial up about 11.5%, Bajaj Finance 7.8%, Bandhan Bank, IndusInd Bank, ICICI, a couple of the names there top of the charts. We also saw a whole host of the smaller financial names run up as well, and we were discussing that extensively with some of our tech experts today. Keep an eye on IT, that's the other area of focus. Infy today definitely standing out amongst the others, even in NIT, for example, seeing traction. What's been cooling off has been to some extent FMCG, so in HUL, ITC sitting out. We've also seen, pharma majors not really participating at this point. Reliance was down 1.5%. The two-wheeler twins were also down about 1% or 2% today in terms of volume activity. Also, that's where we really saw some amount of action. And auto otherwise just cooling off after, being fairly active of late. Like a Mahindra was down about 2% as well. And IGL, that's probably one to point out as well, down about 6% or so. So overall, while the markets, of course, like you said, it has been more about consolidation in today's session. We definitely saw pockets of activity, broader participation, and some pockets just sitting out for the moment. So that's essentially the the wrap today. CK, any closing comments before we wind up?
Well, I think a fairly good finish, particularly for the Bank Nifty. I think that is the most significant takeaway for the day. It's not just the Bank Nifty as an index, but the entire financial space that has moved aggressively and finished the day very, very well, holding out promises of further gains to be made. But the only caveat I will carry here is that, the financial area is very widely patronized by traders, and therefore there is bound to have been a whole lot of BTST trades which have gone into it at the close. All this will be up for selling tomorrow morning if the market were to open better. So that is one of the things that people need to watch out. Other than that, I think some of the other sets of stocks from the auto pack like Eicher Motor or Escorts and some of the IT names. I think these have all been up and about. So the breadth has been pretty good. So we look forward to, it's only Reliance which brought the index down, Nifty down. I think, but with Reliance also reviving, we can look forward to both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty to be in action tomorrow. And if that remains the case, then the day could be quite a humdinger. Let's hope for that. Unless, of course, overnight we have some poor developments happening in the global markets. That's a big if, and we really cannot forecast that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, CK, for joining us.